to the Spirit of love. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening to the Spirit of love. Let the love flow through me. Let the love flow through me. Let the love flow through me. Let the love. We are opening to the Spirit of love. We are opening to the Spirit of love. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am light. You are light, you are light. And we are light, we are light. I am not mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that cause me pain. I am the pieces of all that's left behind. I am light. I am light. You are light, and we are light. I am light. Oh, I am light, and you are light.
Well, good morning and welcome. I'm Reverend John Riley, as most of you have heard, you were in the audience today. I'm Reverend John Riley. I have the joy of serving as your senior minister, and I'd just like to welcome you to our live celebration service. Thank you all for being here today in person. Thanks to all of you who are on our live stream and who are watching during the week. Know that you are in the right place at the right time right now. We are so blessed this morning. If you're new to Unity, what we want you to know is that Unity is a global spiritual community of people who are welcoming and inclusive of people from all walks of life. So whether you're here for the first time or the 100th, 1000th time, know that you are blessed and you are welcome here. We're so blessed this morning to have with us a wonderful guest speaker, our dear friend Gregg Levoy, author and speaker and phenomena, is here with us today. Joe Angelis is our platform leader. Deborah Winters is our soloist. Russell Norman's on piano, and Ron Ebeck is on drums. And so I'll invite you all to stand as we begin our service with our opening song as Deborah leads us in song.
I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. Really feel that when you sing those words. Feel that how gentle and loving and caring and tender that you feel your heart being towards yourself. This repeats again. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like like a newborn baby child. Let's do that one more time. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. Yes, I will only go as fast as the safest part of me feels safe to go. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I will love myself like a newborn baby child. Yes, I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I will love myself like a newborn baby child.
Good morning. I am Joe Angeles. It's so great to connect with all of you this morning, both all of you here in the sanctuary and all of you who are live on our online streaming this morning. And welcome to Unity Palo Alto's Sunday service. We are part of a worldwide movement of prayer, publishing, and education, teaching positive, practical, spiritual principles that I know that I have applied that has led all of us, I think, to a more joyful and abundant life. Yes? And indeed, Unity is a spiritual movement. We are welcoming and inclusive, and wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here. And the coolest thing I love about our 5 principles, because indeed, it helps me to be gentle and easy with myself. Because the first one, it's called God is. There's only one power and presence active in the universe and in our lives, God, the good, the omnipotent. I know last week, Lisa introduced a new word of God for me called soap. I was like, soap? I think it's the sum of all physical laws, I think. And it's funny this week, my word for God this week is fudge. You're curious what that means, right? Here's why. In the second principle, right, God is the substance and intelligence innate in all people in our creation. Literally, God is in everyone, in everything. To me, that spells like a fudge of 8 by 8 pan, right? True? Especially if it's a good one, it's chocolate and gooey. And I don't know about you. How many of you can finish an 8 by 8 fudge? I know I can't, right? You gotta have it in pieces, yes? At the most for me, an inch square. And even that, maybe a sliver, right? So if you think about it, if I think of God like that big, overwhelming. If I think of God as a sliver, doable, you can nibble on it, right? The same way why the third principle comes in handy, which is the law of mind action, which means the thoughts and feelings in our minds produce after their kind. Meaning it's a thought, it's the feelings. It's not this whole humongous thing, just that. And the cool thing is, in the fourth principle, we can start nibbling on that thought and that feeling or that idea of God. Because the fourth principle is our practice of prayer and meditation. Like today's song, gentle and ease the weirdest thing this morning when I came, the word ease came to mind. And that I can digest. That I can eat this morning in my meditation. Because meditation and prayer connects us to that creative, constructive power of God to work in us, through us, and us. So as I go about my day from the gentleness, from the ease that I experience from, meditation and prayer, number 5 becomes easier. I call it my mambo number 5. Principle number 5. We apply what we learn, or what we learn from here on Sunday service and in all of the daily words that we read. Because these truths daily, we become what we're created to be, which in unity calls the Christ. And these 5 core principles also guide us in living our vision statement. And I invite you to affirm that vision statement with me. Centered in God, we co-create a world that works for all. And so it is. And we now continue with our call to worship.
There's been a storm brewing inside of me, clouds moving round my heart. Something's changing that I can't see. I'm stuck in what I know is safe, but not where I'm supposed to be. I feel the call of something more. I feel the call, and it's asking I've never felt before. I feel the call of something more. I feel the call, and it's asking, what am I here for? 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 Oh yes, I feel the call of something more. I feel the call of something I've never felt before. I feel the call of something more. I feel the call, and it's asking, what am I here for? What am I here for? What are we here for? What is mine to be?
Thank you, Deborah. And today's daily word is holy. I will read the affirmation and then I will invite you to affirm it with me. I discover holiness everywhere and in everyone. Would you affirm that with me? I discover holiness everywhere and in everyone. There are certain places I visit where the presence of God feels specially near, places that feel holy. This may include churches and other places of worship, shrines, favorite places in nature, any destination where I become vividly aware of the divine presence is holy ground. I remember these words from the Prayer of Protection by James Billet Freeman. Wherever I am, God is. The divine presence I know lives within me. It is the true essence of my life and of every life. Today, my understanding expands. I discover the divine presence all around me and find holiness everywhere. Every person is a holy being. Every place is holy ground. And from Genesis chapter 28, verse 16. Then Jacob woke from his sleep and said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." And now a solo from Deborah.
I've decided to be happy. I've decided to be glad. I've decided to be grateful for all I ever had. I've decided to let go of all these feelings inside. I've decided to let go of the doubts that I hide. And I know I am blessed, and I know all I ever wanted was this. And I know I don't need more. I've got what I came here for. I've decided to be open to the little voice inside that's telling me I'm beautiful. It's okay that I am alive. I've decided to be kinder to myself when I feel sad. I've decided to be grateful for all I ever had. And I know I am blessed, and I know all I ever wanted was this. And I know I don't need more, that I've got what I came here for. I've decided to be happy. I've decided to be glad. I've decided to be grateful for all that I am.
Well, we are blessed this morning. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you. That was him. He turned on his mic pack in front. You're in front of the speaker, so we'll just wait until you come up. Hi. Well, we're so blessed this morning to have with us a wonderful guest speaker. Our guest speaker is the author of Callings, Finding and Following an Authentic Life, and Vital Signs, The Nature and Nurture of Passion. And Gregg will have these on sale for you after the service in the courtyard. Gregg has been a wonderful behavioral scientist for USA Today, a regular blogger for Psychology Today. He is presented at the Smithsonian Institute, the EPA, the International Conference for Positive Aging, many, many corporations, and we're so blessed to have him back, our dear friend, Gregg Levoy.
Testing, testing. Okay. I've never actually had that happen before. I normally turn it on just before I come up, but every place is different. Good morning. I'm delighted to be back. Thank you again for inviting me. I'm going to jump right in. 3 years ago, I moved from Asheville, North Carolina to Santa Cruz. Whoa. And this is a decision that was complicated by the fact that my twin brother lives in Santa Cruz and has for 40 years. So moving to his town would require that I not only run afoul of our long-standing policy that there ain't no town big enough for the two of us, meaning we need our own turf, okay? But it would also, I thought, trouble the ghost of our mother, who instilled that taboo in us with her insistence from the day we were born that we would have separate identities. Okay, so no Ron and Dawn stuff. Or as my father would say, no Pete and repeat. And if we were girls, he said it would have been Kate and duplicate. But we had separate bedrooms, separate classes in school. We had to take up different instruments, different hobbies, go to different summer camps, even different bus stops. Different bus stops. All right? Yeah. So when I told my brother, Ross, of my interest in considering Santa Cruz as a place to relocate, and shared with him my concern about violating this lifelong taboo, his reaction was a shrug. He said, 15 years ago I would have agreed, but I'm over it. And then one day, during a month-long experiment in dating Santa Cruz, all right? In other words, living there for a month to see if it was actually a fit, I went into the grocery store around the corner from his house, the one that he frequents, and when the cashier asked if I wanted a receipt, and I said yes, she said, "Really? You never want a receipt." So I got to say something to her that has become a very familiar part of my social life in Santa Cruz. I said, okay, so I'm not who you think I am. I'm his twin brother, and no, I'm not pulling your leg, and I'm the twin who always wants a receipt. That same afternoon, Ross happened to go into the same grocery store, stood in the same checkout line, and the same cashier said to him, "Oh, I saw your other half today," not realizing what a loaded remark that is for a twin, okay? So that night, Ross told me, he had the first of a number of nightmares about the prospect of me moving to Santa Cruz, featuring, among other things, a landslide in one dream, avalanche in another, and in a third dream, a Tyrannosaurus Rex tearing up the town. So it turns out he was not over it. Nor was I, okay, which is not surprising, because the taboo against living in the same town was among the longest standing stories of our life together. All right? And we were not going to just edit it out without a little bit of backlash. Okay? But it was only by confronting the story and hashing it out that we were able to grow beyond that storyline. Okay? The fact is, I think, we all have stories that we tell ourselves throughout the course of life about who we are and how it is and what's possible, what can and can't be done, what we can expect from life, why we succeed or fail, et cetera, et cetera. And we do this because we're storytelling animals, all right? And we create stories, I think, to help us figure things out, help us make sense of life, maybe even give us a framework for making life decisions, all right? But some of these stories can turn against us, all right? Especially the negative or the constricting stories like, I'm not the creative type. Very common storyline for people. I'm not the creative type. Or, I'm powerless to change the world. Or, people are untrustworthy. Or, I'm a victim. Or, thousands of others. We all have stories like this. And I think that they become self-limiting when they come up against what I think of as life's primary agenda, which is to grow. And they undermine our belief, as we have here in the New Thought world, that we are each an expression of God, and therefore sacred and worthy. They can undermine that belief system or work against it, all right? And this is especially true when the stories you tell yourself become sort of lies of identity. I am what I do. I am what I have. I am what other people think of me. Okay? And this isn't just about the big stories either. Anytime you catch yourself having a really strong reaction to someone or something, sudden anger, unexpected defensiveness, irrational fear, things like that, you're probably dealing with a story that's become so internalized and unconscious, you don't even hear it anymore. Like somebody makes a casual remark, okay, and it unconsciously reminds you of something your father used to say to you, and you're just off to the races. Right? You're not even seeing things as they are anymore, but as they were. Okay, as they were. Not that there aren't some, quote, negative stories that are really important to tell. All right? I'm thinking, for instance, of the Truth and Reconciliation Commissions that were set up in South Africa after apartheid, and how critical they were to the justice and the healing that took place in that country when the victims of apartheid got a chance to publicly tell their stories. All right? So there are some, quote, negative stories, sorrowful stories, grief-filled stories, angry stories that are really important to be telling. And we've been hearing a lot about that in the last few years, among other things with systemic racism and things like that. Okay, but these are not just old stories that I'm referring to. Not just old stories. We are constantly making up, as we go along, we're making up stories and theories about what we think is going on around us, what somebody is thinking, what a friend meant by a remark, what a failure says about us, what a symptom means. We're constantly making up stories, all right? And anytime you tell yourself, for instance, you should do something, you're probably dealing with a storyline of some kind, right? Anytime you hear a thou shalt not in your head, probably a story. And certainly anytime you refer to the story of my life, because this is something we usually utter in exasperation, and it's kind of a statement of pessimism, right? Like, ugh, that's the story of my life. That means something that you're telling yourself that story, all right? And they're not, of course, just personal. I'm also talking about bigger cultural stories, like big boys don't, and nice girls don't. These are gender stories, all right, that can haunt your individual life, right? As are cultural narratives like go to school, graduate, get a job, get married, have kids, retire, okay? This is as it were, is a cultural storyline that might give some people a template to use in crafting a life, utterly legitimate, but it might also punish people who deviate from that, or set up maybe unrealistic expectations about pursuit of the American dream. Okay? Bill of Rights said we have the right to happiness, but not necessarily the achievement of it. The pursuit of happiness, not necessarily achieving the thing. Didn't say anything about that. Also, the stories that we tell ourselves come from our spiritual traditions as well. Okay, they're handed down, maybe more to the point, by the religious education some of us got. I'm thinking, for instance, of the commandments that are listed in the first 5 books of the Old Testament, okay, collectively referred to as the law. There are 613 of them, including do not marry outside your religion, make no artistic representations of God. That means that the painting Michelangelo did on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, you know this one? Blasphemy, according to that storyline, all right? How about follow not the whims of your own heart? That's one of them. This would put me out of business because I'm Mr. Callings, all right? The whims of your heart, I don't think should be overlooked. So I'm running up against that storyline. How about no tattoos, no blowing on dice, no working on Sundays? This would put me and Reverend John in the doghouse. Okay? I love this. No rebelling against your parents. And in one of my favorites, no trying God's patience. How about a show of hands? How many of you have ever tried God's patience? Yeah, okay. So, whether the stories that we hear ourselves tell ourselves are personal or, transpersonal, I think a story is kind of a box. And when you identify with a story to the point of being stuck or spellbound, when it prevents you from growth and authenticity and potential and knowing that you are sacred and worthy, you're inside the box. And when you begin to stop identifying with that storyline or even just question it, you're outside the box. All right? Not that it's easy to think outside the box. All right? No less step outside the box. Stories are powerful, and they shape our lives. All right? Because stories become beliefs, become behaviors. All right? Or as we say here in the New Thought universe, thoughts become experience. They become experience. All right? In other words, we don't just tell stories, they tell us. They tell us who we think we are and what we're capable of. And every telling rubs it in a little bit more deeply, whether the stories you tell yourself are negative or positive. There is that cumulative effect, right? But the negative, the constricting stories, they hold us back. They hold us in. And they're too small. Really, I think they're too small for us. They don't capture the totality of who we are. Really, any given storyline, no matter how big and amplified it feels. Now, expanding the stories, and thus I think our lives, starts by catching them in the act. Okay? There's a guy named Dan McAdams, and he belongs to a branch of psychology called narrative therapy. This is specifically designed to help people change their stories. Narrative therapy. And this is what he says about it. He said, you should interrogate yourself. That's the word he uses. You should interrogate yourself about the stories you tell yourself and stop letting them just have their way with you. All right? And maybe this starts with, watching your language. Like our parents would sometimes tell us, watch your language. Meaning, watch how you talk to yourself. Listen to how you talk to yourself. What kind of tone of voice are you using? What are you saying? And how would you feel if somebody else were saying the things that you say to yourself? How would that feel? I even think it's not a bad idea to type some of these storylines up in a sentence. Give them to a friend. Have them read it back to you. and just check in with how it feels to hear it from somebody else, saying, you're not the creative type. I don't know why I'm asking you. And just see how that feels as a thing to hear about yourself, all right? And because, by the way, this tuning in process to the stories is helped along a lot if you have a practice like mindfulness meditation or journaling or dream interpretation work or, therapy even as a self-reflective practice. I had a therapist say to me once, after I had told him one of my favorite sob stories about how my family of origin had victimized me, he said, so how many times have you told that story? And how many more times are you planning on telling it? Okay. I guess that's why I was paying him $125 an hour. I think at that point in my life, I was done with the there kind of therapist. I wanted somebody to hold my feet to the fire, and by gosh, he did it. So also, because we are always making up new stories as we go along, I think it's important to watch how you craft them, how you get them going. All right? McAdams said that people who tell stories about challenging events in their lives, but with a redemptive twist, in other words, something you learned from it, some wisdom you wrested from the experience, some way it helped you to grow, tend to thrive more over the course of their lives than people who just tell negative stories about a challenging event. Right? For instance, early in my career, I lost a job at a newspaper and just considered it a flat-out failure. And that was how I told the story, that I just got shafted. But over time, I realized that it was by getting fired from that job gave me precisely the motivation I finally needed to become a freelancer, right, to follow a calling that I had been avoiding for half a decade at that point. So I was now telling the redemptive twist story, and managed to turn it from a story of failure to, if not quite a story of success, at least a story of falling up. That makes sense, falling up. Okay, Joseph Campbell called them directive crises. Okay, i.e., we are not just the protagonists of our stories. We're the narrators. All right, we're the narrators. We're in charge of the stories, which is one of the reasons why I think it's critical to separate fact from fiction in the stories you might hear yourself say, because even a shred of contrary evidence, okay, a minor exception to the storyline, a little crack in its logic, another way it could be told from another point of view, might give you that all-important shadow of a doubt that can help you begin to question the truthfulness of the thing and maybe help you step beyond the boundaries that you've set for yourself by telling that story over and over. Okay? I have made, for example, a regrettable number of life decisions that started and ended with the phrase, I can't afford it. Sound familiar to some of you? I can't afford it. This grinds into my subconscious a message of self-imposed limitation. All right? It's a rap on the knuckles of the cookie jar kind of thing. What was more accurate when I really started to drill into this, what was more accurate is I won't afford it. This adds to the equation the critical elements of choice and power. I would prefer to spend my money on car repairs rather than a new computer. Okay? Big difference. All right? So let's say that you have a story, I've mentioned this, very common, I'm not the creative type. Let's say you have that loop going on in your mind. But then, under scrutiny, you begin to notice little exceptions to that. You go out into the garden. You cut some flowers. You bring them inside. You put them in a vase with the yellows in front and the purples in the back and the blues in the middle. You're being artistic. You doodle while you're talking to your dad on the telephone. You're drawing. You write a letter to a friend, you're writing. You sing along with the car radio, you're singing. When you dream, your unconscious is literally playwriting. All right? And then suddenly maybe you notice, wow, look at that. I am the creative type. And in some ways that don't even have to do anything, just comes naturally. So ways that we begin to kind of gently deconstruct some of these stories and separate fact from fiction, right? So you might ask yourself if any of the stories you're telling yourself, and we'll look at this in the workshop this afternoon, if any of the stories you're telling yourself are true, and how true. How true, right? My parents divorced when I was 9. Might be true. In my case, it was. It's my fault is false, right? My father was critical and emotionally absent. Might be a true story. Again, yes. I'm not worthy of love is a false story, right? There ain't no town big enough for the two of us. Might once have been true, but no longer. And I just think it's really important to just begin to look at that, all right? Just to look at that. Granted, changing the storylines is not easy. I've done it a number of times. It's good, hard human work, all right? You're not going to undo stories you may have been telling yourself in your head for the better part of a lifetime at really the flip of a switch, right? And without some blowback, because changing stories is going to ruffle feathers, and not just your own. It just is. Give you an example. Some years ago, my brother Ross and I were hiking up in the Santa Cruz Mountains, having a debate about how susceptible we are to cultural conditioning. It started because he made some bold declarative statement about being immune to advertising. And to make a point about how susceptible I thought we actually were to advertising, and I don't just mean the consumer kind, but the cultural kind, I dared him to hold hands with me until we reached a bend in the forest path, I don't know, 100 feet up or so. Hold hands with me. And he reaches out his hand, accompanied by a look that translated to, I call your bluff. So here's the thing. There was nobody around. There was clearly nobody around. But the next 10 seconds, my God, provoked an outbreak of reflexes that would have put Pavlov's dogs to shame. Embarrassment, awkwardness, self-consciousness, paranoia, pure conditioning, based on a story, a cultural story about how straight men are supposed to behave in public, okay? Ruffling feathers just by challenging that, and we were by ourselves, really. We were just pushing a toe across the line, really, as these things go, but all the alarm bells went off. All the feathers were flying, and for one thing, we look almost exactly alike. How suspicious could this be? and we're doing this in Santa Cruz. Really, who cares? Who cares? And I wouldn't be a proper twin either, by the way, if I didn't report to you that he broke first. Just being a twin, it never ends. But changing the stories is hard work. I just want to offer a gracious bow to what I'm even suggesting by questioning the stories. It's hard work. Compassion is in order. Patience is in order. A sense of humor would come in very handy. You may have to sing yourself a different tune 100 times before it begins to sink in, before you begin to believe it, this new storyline, whatever it might be. 100 times, maybe 1,000 times. Just in a sense, a numbers game in one regard. But the truth is that until we begin to notice the stories that we tell ourselves and confront, if not deconstruct, the core perceptions at the heart of those stories, the behavior that grows out of him is not going to change. It was only by dialoguing with my brother and with myself that we were able to move past that story, understanding that we are not the same, we are not the children we were when that story got set in motion. We are not the same people we were back then, all right? And I'm delighted to report that we now live in the same town for the first time since we were boys. And it is truly, truly one of the great joys of my life, all right? So, in the spirit of helping to question and expand our lives, to look at the stories we tell ourselves, I just want to say that the workshop this afternoon is a very hands-on opportunity to gently look at some of the stories you might be telling yourself, especially the ones that hold you back from whatever might want to emerge in your life at this juncture, and whatever's blocking your understanding, your experience of yourself as sacred and worthy. So I hope you'll come. And thank you again, Reverend John, for bringing me back to this beloved community. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Greg. It's always a joy to have you with us. Great. Very, very excited about our workshop, too. And there's still space, so feel free to join us. It's at 12:30. Yep, in the Learning Center. Well, let's just take a moment to settle in. Let's take a moment for meditation and affirmative prayer. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or soften your gaze. And as we breathe into this present moment, we allow ourselves to become relaxed. You may feel your feet, wiggle your toes, feel the earth beneath you as you are grounded, centered, poised. And with open hands, with a receptive heart, we allow those stories to rest. Whatever stories that have been going on in your life today, whatever's bubbling up for you in this present moment, we just allow those stories to drift by like clouds in the sky. Not concerned, not stressed, just allowing them to gently float by as we return our attention to the breath. With each breath, our emotions begin to relax, our body begins to relax, and we become present to that infinite supply of love. The infinite energy of harmony flowing through every cell in our body. Allowing that light within to shine brightly. With a gentle breath, we rest in this stillness, the stillness of spirit, the stillness of oneness, the stillness of the silence. From this place of knowing our oneness with Spirit, being one with the allness of life, love, and wisdom, we affirm, I am spiritually whole. I am a joyful blessing to the world. I am a light of peace. an expression of prosperity, an expression of love. I take this true nature, this idea of my true nature, to all of my stories today. I allow myself to create a life today based on the idea that I am spiritually whole. To be that vision, that light of harmony, to be that place of peace in the world today. We hold this same prayer for all of our world, national, state, and local leaders, seeing them making wise and loving decisions for peace on earth, goodwill, equality, and justice. We hold this same prayer for our prayer requests, for anybody who you hold in your heart. All of the requests that have come in online or through our prayer chest, we surround them with love, seeing each person discovering that spiritual magnificence within them and creating new stories of health, wholeness, and abundance. And for this time together, as we celebrate this experience as one spiritual community, that energy that flows through us, we are joyfully grateful, we are richly, richly blessed, and we celebrate by singing the Alleluia.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
And with a nice deep cleansing breath, we return our attention to this time and this space, and gently open your eyes if you haven't already done so. And we allow that divine energy to flow through us with ease and grace. For all of the stories that we are holding on to, we affirm that divine love is our true nature. And that's what Unity Palo Alto is here for, is to help you discover that spiritual nature and help you live from that magnificent nature every day. We're here because of your generous donations and offering to the spiritual community. We are a self-sustaining spiritual center. And as we move into that process of giving, I invite you to bring that love to mind, because there are so many ways in which you can give to Unity Palo Alto. But however you decide to give with love. If you're here in the sanctuary and you want to write a check, there's a little silver box in the back of the sanctuary that says love offerings. You can place your love offering in there. But however you give with love, for it's the manner in which we give to the world that we receive from the world. So our affirmation is on the screen, will be on the screen, and I invite you to affirm that with me together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. And so it is.
Why ask why? Show yourself some mercy. Don't be shy. You don't have to look away. It's all right. You don't have to know the answers. In your heart, you'll know you'll do the very best you can. Sail away tonight on the ocean of forgiveness. We cannot decide which way the wind will blow. Come and close your eyes and let go of tomorrow. Some things in life only heaven knows. Face the sky. The light will never hurt you. Live your life. You don't have to be afraid. Hear the sighs of those who truly love you. There's nothing you could ever do to make them turn away. And sail away tonight on the ocean of forgiveness. We cannot decide which way the wind will blow. Come and close your eyes and let go of tomorrow. For some things in life only heaven knows. Hush your mind. No need to cry. Say a prayer for heaven and trust that everything's all right. And sail away tonight on the ocean of forgiveness. We cannot decide which way the wind will blow. Come and close your eyes and let go of tomorrow. For some things in life only heaven knows. Yes, some things in life only heaven knows. Some things in life only heaven knows. Oh.
Okay. That's a story. And another great story, isn't it? Our amazing music team. That's a story, right? Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Russell. Thank you, Ronnie. That is an amazing story. Yes? Yes. And thank you so much, Greg. And I came up with this one for myself. Is this any story that contradicts these two things? I am sacred and I am worthy. Anything that contradicts that, I need to question it with compassion, patience. I love this part, humor. I was like, yeah. So thank you so much for all of that. And what I'm grateful for is that whether we are here in the sanctuary or whether you're watching us live or you're tuning in during the week, we get to be connected by these amazing music and amazing messages. And now I'd like to take a moment for us to express this gratitude for the connection and the community that we do have here at Unity Palo Alto. So I invite you to actually put one hand in your heart and then extend one hand, and in your mind just send out that energy of love and gratitude for each one of us here at Unity Palo Alto in person and online, and for the people during the week. And so thank you so much for sharing this time together. And the cool thing about us is that we have opportunity to share this connection and community beyond Sunday service, because we have other opportunities for spiritual growth, sacred service, and celebrations here at Unity Palo Alto, starting with our prayer service. Today is the second Sunday of the month, so today is our monthly prayer service today after the service. Wow, said service in so many ways there. And it's led by Casey Wicker, our licensed Unity teacher. So this meditation service is our opportunity to come together in affirmative prayer. And in affirmative prayer, we become one heart, one voice in prayer, and we affirm the light that we are within. And then we put that light energy as we infuse the prayer request with love and blessings, and then we send it to Silent Unity, where it will be held for 30 days. And then, as Greg has already mentioned, he has a workshop at 12:30 today at the Karen Bradley Learning Center. There's still there's still space, so come and join us. And you can register at the door. Then next Sunday, and during the pandemic, our dear friends and longtime members, Imogen and Richard Hilbers, made their transition. So next Sunday, August 21st at 11:30, we come together to remember, honor, and celebrate their lives. And if you happen to have any pictures or any memories that you would like to share during service, please send them to Anne Hiley, or if you have any particular question. So, and you can join us either live or in person on Sunday. Hold on one sec. And we have more. If you want to know more about all of these things that I mentioned and any other opportunities, you can go to our website at unitypaloalto.org. You can also check out all of our social media channels. There are so many ways to connect with us and share the good news that is Unity Palo Alto. And today is the second Sunday of the month. So every second Sunday, we have the opportunity to share our abundance, where we share a portion of our donation with a safety net organization serving the San Francisco Bay Area. And this month, we are sharing our abundance with the Avenidas. So they've been in existence, they're a nonprofit organization. They've been in existence since 1969. And they have been a trusted provider of helpful information and engaging programs to older adults and families on the Mid-Peninsula. Their main mission is to help older adults in our community to be active, engaged, and healthy as possible throughout their lives. And then they actually provide a lot of services and programs, and I'll just mention or highlight them. They run 2 enrichment centers, one in downtown Palo Alto, the other one in South Palo Alto. And then they're also licensed to do adult day health care in Mountain View, called the Avenidas Rose Kleiner Center. And their special program that we are actually giving our grant to is the Avenidas Care Partners, where they provide multiple services to help people age in place, connect to community, resolve any crisis, and most importantly, proactively plan for changes in lifestyles. And there you go. In some of those services, they do case management, community presentations, elder care, consultations. So for all of these great things that they provide, we'd like to support them, and we'd like to bless them as well. So extend your hands again and say, Avenidas. Oh, there it is. Avenidas. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. and we behold the light in you. And so it is. And now I invite you all to stand as we sing our song of peace.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family whole are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And now our prayer for protection. It was a mic drop moment.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, I normally do it after my prayers, but you know, sometimes they're that good. And now our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Love and blessings, everyone. Have a wonderful week.
I feel the call of something more. I feel the call of something I've never felt before. I feel the call of something more. I feel the call, and it's asking, what am I here for? 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 I feel the call of something more. I feel the call of something I've never felt before. I feel the call of something more. I feel the call, and it's asking, what am I here for? 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 I hear the call of something more. Now I can drop it. No, just kidding.
you.